Okay, today is a great opportunity to learn about how to write and what to include in a professional resume or CV with the HR specialist, Dolly. Dolly, could you please introduce yourself and what do you do for business?
Hi, my name is Dolly Dixon, and I am an HR benefits specialist and also an inspirational blogger on self-development and humanitarian and a certified lesbian speaker. And what I do for business, my full-time job is HR, as I just said. And what I do on the side too, as I give back to the community, is also helping job candidates to write CV and resumes.
That is great. So basically, we want to know from your experience how to write a professional CV. You know, there are millions and millions of questions around the place. What do you
That's
advise?
So when it comes to writing a CV, I will recommend that job can like is highly recommended for job candidates to look and pay attention to the job description because the employer is not looking at what everyone can do. It's more like what makes you stand out in that job, or what do you bring into the table. So rather than using words, generic words, you have to use the words that matches what they are looking for. And also in today's day and age, there is normally like what is it called, like a computer system that helps to select all these resumes and CV to have it to the yes pile or no pile. So your goal is to make sure that you get to the yes pile by paying attention to the job descriptions before you literally start writing anything. Like you have to have a strategic plan on how to put yourself out there. Don't worry about other candidates, just focus on how you can bring your best foot forward and how you can make the best out of it.
So you mentioned like not using generic language, and you mentioned this kind of computer programming that can help with picking up or putting your CV on one file or another. What
That's
kind
right.
of language like do you expect from candidates to put into their resumes?
So, what kind of language? We want some action words right there. We want a verb and action words, especially when it comes to when you want to describe what you do for work. For example, you want to, let's say it's something you've done in the past. You cannot just say, oh, went to the meeting or something. You said something like ensure that, like you carry a specific task. Like just do it. The thing is that when it comes to writing CV and all, is all on the candidates. Even when I'm helping someone write a CV, it's more like what do you have, and then how can we bring it out in the best? Is not to change their voice, is not to change their writing, but it's pretty much to literally mirror that effects, like to the best version of themselves in writing. So when it comes to CV, use the action word as much as possible. And it has to be on a higher level to the sense that when your employer sees you, let's say you are invited for an interview, that they can really tell who you truly are. An employer or and someone who interviews, they can literally tell who you are the minute you walk into that door. So you have to be ready to show the world who you are, not just the world, yourself, and impress yourself too. And also just continue to put your best foot forward. Practice and practice and practice, not only because what you wrote in there, practice like no one is watching, just practice and be the best version of yourself when going for an interview or even writing your CV. And for me, I always believe that the minute you start to introduce yourself is when you start reading that job description, when you start reading that job qualification. That is how you start to introduce yourself, because that is when that inspiration comes from you, and you start thinking about how can I do this? How can I stand out? What can I do? Things like that. Don't worry about what other candidates are doing. You're doing just fine. You just have it in you. You just have to bring it out in writing. And when you are eventually choosing as a candidate, you have to speak and be ready to introduce yourself that yes, you are the perfect fit for the job. Don't be cocky. Don't be don't be egoistic. Just be yourself and put your best foot forward.
So if you read in my resume that I have been a trainer for 5 years, full
Hmm.
stop,
Yes.
what do you understand?
You've been a trainer. For me, I would be like, anybody can be a trainer, but what did you really do? What is your quality that makes you stand out from other trainers? For example, do you make sure like on one that they understand what you're doing? Do you do like a self-evaluation, and not just put a self-evaluation, I mean, what is it called, like evaluation whereby the people you're teaching evaluate you. I want, what have you done? What is the outcome? What is the situation in just one sentence? Like, for example, yeah, you've been a trainer. Um, effective, like you effectively train those people, but we want to make sure that you have a quality result out of it, not just train. Anybody can train anyone. I can train anyone, but did you bring something to the table? Did they learn something? And what would people say about you if I ask out there? What would your references that you put down say about you if I put you out there? Like, that is one of the questions too. What do you have? How would it benefit me in my sense when I employ you into the company?
So
So
if
we
I
just,
say, yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Dolly, but if I say I have been a trainer for 5 years and it has been successful, would that help?
anybody can be successful in a trainer too. But successfully trained, I would like to see like an amount as well. For example, successfully trained over 500, some, most of the time also, if you have a number, let's say, yeah, like your trainer, like you said, uh you can put something like successfully trained over 50 employees about self-development, and which as um yeah, like some, not just overtrained, because anybody can train, but do they have that impact? So I'm just running out of words right now, but it has to be something that you'll be like, yes, I have successfully trained over 50 employees, and this is what happened, what impact, this is the impact I had on them. So that numbers will literally drive, because look at it this way, you have this CV. I have about maybe more than 100 people that is applying, even though my system scan it left and right, and then I still have about, let's say, 25 to go through. I'm not going to sit there within 30 seconds, tell me what you had. When I glance through it, that number, let's say you're a trainer, that number really stands out. Not just the number, but what you have successfully done. And I will be like, whoa, like this person is hot. Yeah, like yes, let's give it a try, or let's narrow it down. And then it goes to an extra yes 5 for me.
So let me rephrase what I have said in another way so that I can be successful somehow with you, Dolly. Okay, so if I say that I have trained more than 400 people, they submitted the writings. I gave them, let's say, formative, or let's say positive feedback, and let's say points to work on. We kept going on for about 1 month. Then they showed like 25 to 30% development. So I had another plan to get them to read articles on the internet and on their mobiles, then to bring their knowledge from the articles into the writing, and to try to improve their, let's say, lexis and the vocabulary selection. Then I could bring into their awareness, let's say, the ability to make better selections for vocabulary for the writings after they have submitted about, let's say, 100 or 70 pieces of writing. Well, would
I
that help?
love that. Oh, yes, that is so impressive, because right there, even with that short sentences you were saying, you were telling me what you did, how many people you've at least impacted, what is the result, and what is it about. So, like all the details, I don't even have to like ask you or reframe a question, because everything I need to make my decision is right there. So perfect is very perfect. Like I said, for me, when I'm helping writing CVs, I don't take away people's voice. I just let it shine. So that means that in terms of their wordings, I let it just sit there as it says, but it's just to make sure that all the right phrase or to put yourself out there or to, yeah, to advertise yourself and just be the best version of yourself is in there. Yeah. And also when I write CVs too, I don't, or when I help people write CVs too, I literally just like not like it's more like constructive critique, right? Just to make sure that, yeah, I literally just look from the employer's point of view. Even if the employer is lenient in how they ask questions, you gotta expect the unexpected, because sometimes you can go to an interview and then they, for example, use psychology on you. Maybe they put a glass of water, right? It's just a glass of water. It has nothing to do with the, and let's say, oh, it's accidentally spilled and it is your water. What would you do? That is psychology. Does that mean you're a team player? Like there are just so many, not just the written aspects, but also you gotta be able to, when you enter the room, you gotta be able to look and just be quick, right on the fit, to make sure that you know what is going on, or if they're trying to test you, just to predict and expect the unexpected. But the best part is just to be your real self, just be yourself, and everything else will follow and things will work out if it's meant to be. But be your best self.
Okay, so so for here, as I understand now, like you need, let's say, concrete details about what people are doing.
That's right.
So, like before I write my CV or resume, would you like me to have like gained a respectable amount of experience, like and got exposed, so that I can put these pieces of actions in my
Mm,
CV?
well, it depends, because sometimes I would choose someone who is like who doesn't really have much experience, but it seems like they are eager to learn with the way they present themselves. So, for example, what I mean by that is, okay, I put a job description out there, I put a posting out there, not just what you have, but have you done a research on my company, or where like which where you want to apply? Have you literally done the right research? Do you know what we're about? Do you know what we do? Do you have a feel of the culture and climate? Do you know someone who works there? Thank God there is internet and technology now. There is LinkedIn. You don't have to, like, let's say you don't even know the name of your hiring manager or something. You can kind of like make friends, with someone, not just LinkedIn, even Facebook. Like you just have to make sure that you are well targeted, that you are targeting the right person. Like let's say, okay, you went to the website, you don't really know what they're about, and you happen to know someone or a friend of a friend or someone of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, something like that. That kind of like work there. It doesn't really hurt to have to be like, so what do you do? Do you have any kind of advice, any kind of recommendation? And then even doing the, let's say you're writing your resume and CV on top of that experience, and then you did the right research and you're writing it even without the hiring manager seeing you, and they're reading all this, and then you even mention the person that, oh, I was speaking to um Nour, and it was telling me about this company. Oh, it makes me more interested in the as a trainer in this in this company. And then you can just like jab up what they do in terms of what you know about the culture, about the climate and things like that, and then you can now couple it with your qualification, because everybody can have a bunch of qualification out there, but what do you bring to the table? And then I would ask, does it match my goals? Does it match where I'm going, like what I'm, the future, the vision I see for this company, does it match it? Like it just has to match. So it means that I bring something, is an equal give and take somehow when it comes to, I guess, interview. So like, what do you have on the table? Would it be, how would it benefit me? I don't want to hire you and then let's say you have a little bit of training to do, like orientation week or something, and then it takes a lot for a company to train. Like they want to predict that, okay, you will be highly successful in the future, at least gradually, or in the specific, the way they measure their goals or something. They want to make sure that you will be successful in that, not just training you and then all of a sudden is not rewarding them anything, is not rewarding them anything and things like that. So they have to, or they have to critically measure. That is why you see most people, like when you go to an interview, on top of critically, like literally screening your resume out, and in the interview, that is why you see most just typing out your answers and things like that, just to make sure that they can compare and construct, what other candidates are bringing to the table and what you are bringing to the table. What makes you stand out? Does it fit their climate and culture? And what I meant by culture is my culture, like as a whole, their vision, their mission. And when it comes to climate, climate is talking about the team they work for, the team itself. That's what they're talking about. Like how would you fit in the team? They not only want someone who is independent in getting their work done, but they also want someone who is also a team player who supports other people, especially now in today's day and age. Let's say you even work in an office. You see that in today's day, before there used to be like an individual office, everyone has their own office, but in HR is moving towards a collective environment where you have your own desk there, someone sits there. Like they have to make sure that you're a team player in that sense, that you can support your employee, and you can take initiative to get things done. Again, it all comes down to specifics, like depending on what you're applying for at the end of the day.
Okay, so my question here, when you help your clients with their CVs, like,
Mhm.
is it an inspection and an exploration process into their, let's say, experience?
Yes. So, well, the thing is that for me, before I help anyone or agree to help anyone, because I don't like to make commitments if I don't know what I'm entering into, right? So the first thing I'll be like, we have an initial phone call, or even a chat, a quick chat, like, okay, tell me a little bit about yourself, assuming I don't know them. So tell me a little bit about yourself. But yeah, and also if I don't know their line of work, for example, I know nothing about nurse. like nursing, yeah, I'm more of a business woman. But so for example, I'll be like, tell me what you do, tell me about yourself. Now tell me, what are your strengths? Strengths as in, don't think about just the work itself, but you as a person. For example, are you a quick learner? um yeah, like, are you great at communication? Because you don't want to lie on your resume, because with time it will tell. It can really tell with time. So just to make sure that we put you to that spotlight in writing, to make sure that everything is on point. Yeah, it's not just the experience, really. Personality as a whole too flows with it. Is one package. Package yourself. Yes, it has to be all in one, considering everything. Again, like focusing on you and you alone, rather than, oh my God, I'm going to be like other candidates. They have higher experience. Oh, they are from abroad. Oh, they have so much experience. They've trained over 500 people. Oh, please. Oh, I believe that when you believe in yourself and you put the right amount of work, and you work it like no other, you ask for help. That doesn't mean you're weak. It just makes you stronger. Like you do all the necessary thing on your part, and then you yeah, and you put your best foot forward. So you do your research, you just package it like right on when you start having that, or you read the job qualification. You have to like, for for me, it always works for me, at least when I apply for job, for example. Like the minute I start like looking at the cover letter, not cover letter, the job description, I literally just see what are the words they are repeating, what are the words that are standing out. For example, customer service. Okay. Then I see another customer service at the bottom. Then I see another one, or it's written not in customer service, but in another way or something. You got to pay attention to that just to make sure that even if you don't know what they're about, and then it can tell you like, okay, what's the feel, what am I working into now, like, like, do they value customer service, or they value teamwork, do they value maybe you taking extra courses to better yourself, even if you don't have like the qualification you're looking for. Write it in a positive light. Don't tell me that, oh, I don't have it. Tell me that you're working towards it. How about that? That is you saying in the line of what they want. Don't tell them, don't let what you actually, Les Brown always say this, and I do agree with that. Don't let what you want to say get in the way of what your audience want to hear. Your audience here is your R&D manager. You don't know how many people you're going to be sitting in front of. Everyone think differently. Some would think logically, some would be so friendly, but you have to make sure that you focus, like you focus on it. So in that sense, when you're introducing yourself, when you're writing the CV, don't let, oh, like when they say in the CV and you're trying to tell your qualification, don't tell me that, oh, you are the the most um best trainer. Anybody can say that. So you got to pay attention and just calm down. Like, what do they want to hear? How can I put my best foot forward? No, don't lie on the resume though, like, oh no, like that is not that is not a good one. I know you want to put your best foot forward, but there is a way to always rewrite or reward something into a positive or affirmative way when it comes to that. If you don't have it, let's say they're asking for a doctorate degree and you don't have it, you're working towards it. Let's say they want you to be like a member of a profession, but you don't have it, you're working towards it, something like that. They want to hear that, and not just hear that. When you say it in the interview, say it like you mean it. Say it and go get it. I mean, that's how I see it though. It's from my hand.
Great. So let's say concerning the parts of the CV, like are
Yeah.
there certain divisions for a CV?
Certain division, there are different type of CVs. So, and it depends on where you fall. For example, I like to write my own CV right from my current experience. What am I, for example, where am I currently working? And then it goes from here, current here, down. So, assuming that someone who went on maternity leave, or maybe they have been out of job for a couple of years, be ready to explain yourself in your cover letter. Cover letter, like resume is different. Cover letter is, I define cover letter as what can't like what I cannot see in a resume, but still help me boost up my qualifications. So, um, and then you can write, then let's say you have like a little bit of a gap in terms of your work experience. You just have to be critical in how you present yourself. Don't write it in the current year. Well, if you choose to write in the current year, just be ready to explain yourself. But you can also write it in a generic like a functional resume, like this is what I've done in the past in this position, this, yeah, like there's so many ones out there. It just depends. I just like to narrow it down to the candidates themselves and what they prefer. Yeah, because there's always a freedom on choosing what you want. Again, like they already have it in them. They just have to use the right word and the right expression. And yeah, and they're good to go, and trust that everything will work out for good. Yeah. Yeah. So it
Perfect.
depends on it. Yeah.
So my question here is, do colors matter?
Colors, actually, it depends again, because some people don't care. But what do you mean by colors? Is it like colors, like for example, your outfits when you go into the interview, or in terms of
No, no, I mean
the
on the CV,
paper?
like sometime like one part can be in red, one part can be in green, one part can be in blue.
Oh no, no. I mean, when it comes to CV, normally use the acceptable one. Um, then when it, yeah, like it's just black and white, well, on a black paper, and then you type it in black ink using Harrier or Time Romans. Well, also it depends on the country too. I don't know, like because for me, I'm very familiar with Canadian way of writing resumes. Well, it depends on the country too. Just go with the flow, like yeah. But one thing I've done in the past, though, especially for me, I can speak for myself because if it doesn't match your personality, I wouldn't advise that. So resume, yeah, normal standard way of writing. So if I want to add a cover letter, which I love writing cover letter in terms of putting more expression in there, sometimes I just like to change that color. But before I choose my color, I will like to research the meaning of that color in business. Blue can represent something great, white can represent something, and you put red. Well, you gotta research the meaning of red in business. What does that stand? Does that mean, oh, are you very empowered right now? Or you like, oh, I'm ready to take on the floor? Like you don't want to sound like your the color to against it has to, well, I will go back. I did a little bit of psychology in school. So like I HR does I at least in when I went to school for HR, I am psychology is one of the things we do to like how people think and how. So you want to put colors in there. Well, you gotta tell me. That tells me about your personality a little bit. Are you aggressive? Oh, are you passionate right now about what you like? But again, it depends on your hiring manager. Some are just so lenient. Some they would pretty much like right from what you wear, right from the words you use, right from your expression, they would literally tell who you are, even if it's not true. But anyways, yeah, it just depends on who you get it.
Where
But
should,
colors,
yeah,
yeah, you can, but it depends. Just look, just study what kind of I mean, if it's a millennium complaint and you think they accept that, oh, go for it. Why not? But if it's like a traditional company, well, you gotta because you want to make sure you fit in at least in terms of their mission and vision as a whole. And then when you now get employed, then you can now let your that the personality to shine you know, and if you want to stand out and all, you can now let that to shine. So yeah.
where should the photo fit? On the right, on the left? Should it include a photo at all?
I mean, I will tell you right away for Canadian resume or Canada resume, we don't use photo. But well, it depends on your profession. Like if you want to be what is it called? A model, then they use photo, obviously. But I do a little bit of research though. I see that in other countries, you put photo. But let's say they even eventually, I see photo at the center, but Canada doesn't uses photo in that. But let's say they ask for photo for me, even because it's not really our practice. But if they ask for photo, I just send my professional headshot separately in the email. Yeah, for sure. But it depends on the country too. But we don't use that much of a photo when you're applying or doing a traditional resume or CV.
Okay, when it comes to like hobbies and interests, it's a kind of part in the resume. Like if I say I like football, would you like to see a sentence like that in the resume?
That you like, oh, like volunteering and interest.
I like football, I like basketball, let's say I play golf. Then,
Absolutely, yeah. Like when it comes to, we don't want to focus on your experience alone, like in terms of, I get it, how do you fit in and how, but what else do you do? Do you volunteer for your community? And not just volunteer anything, what do you do to make a difference in your community? Some companies care about that. So yeah, like what do you do to like even what are you interested in? Because sometimes there are some companies that they still have like what is it called? Like some kind of fitness program, or all sort of program for the employees. That is what because what I see in today's day and age is that companies are trying to incorporate work-life balance in there, so that like there is gym, there is this, so like it's still part of it. So like it's more like, okay, part of my, like, this is my qualification, but at the bottom, I mean, if you have the space to put that, you can like feel free to be like, oh, like my other interest and volunteer is basketball, doing this, doing that, yeah, things like that. So you want to, so that tells me, if I'm the one reading it, that tells me that, oh, you like to take care of yourself. Yes, like you investing in yourself in terms of trying to stay healthy. And when you stay healthy, and healthy employee is also, and it helps with the mental health too, right? So they would see that, oh God, like he is on top of it, she is on top of that, like, oh, she does this, and they know that, okay, like even when you're in a stressful situation, some employer can literally go right down to overthinking. Well, not like overthinking, but it's more like just constructive criticizing what they have in front of them. That, okay, let's, oh, you love basketball, oh, that is amazing. So that tells me that when you're thrown into maybe like a stressful situation, or maybe a heavy work day, oh, that tells me that at least you have something to fall back into in terms of basketball, fitness, or something like that. It doesn't have to be just basketball, like anything of your interest, but just whatever you put it out there, just make sure it's very original, you, yeah, and your genuine interest as well.
What else would you like to say?
What else will I have to say? So I would say something like, again, make sure you study. I just have my paper just to make sure I hit all the points right. Make sure
Okay.
you study the details and vocabularies in the job description. Again, that is very, very important. It's more about what you bring to the table, not just try to fit in, and fit in terms of what they are looking for. And then just be yourself and let your best self shine. Put your best version of yourself out there. Focus more on your strengths and stand out. No, don't worry about what other candidates are doing. Don't worry about what other qualifications they have. Just focus on yourself. Put that work on yourself. And even if they're asking for something that you do not have, just make sure that you put it in a positive light, that you're working towards it. And if you have like a strategy already, put it there. Put it there that you're working towards it in 6 months' time, you're working towards it in 3 months' time. Like, even put it a time frame and make sure you commit to it as well. And one thing I always say is that when you are applying for a job, you have to say it and have the faith that that job is already yours. Because when you have that, that put you to that real inspiration and motivation to just go get it. Like, you put all your strength into it. If you need help, like, you train like no other. If you need help, ask for help. If you need research, do the research. Just start working on it. Start working on it. Don't put a generic resume out there or CV out there. Start working. I mean, you can always change, like, yeah, you can always change one or two things, but you have to have that positive mindset, not just a positive mindset, but take action to make sure that, okay, put your best foot forward, that this job is already yours. But, and don't doubt yourself too. One thing I found myself, I will tell you a little bit story. Sometimes when I'm going to a job, interview, even though I did everything, I practiced, and sometimes you still see yourself nervous. But the good thing is that despite the fear you have, and you put in all the work prior to the interview, even when your legs are shaking, your hands are sweating, you still remember what you want to say. Why? Because you've already put in the work. And one thing that also helps me is that when I'm going to an interview, I just smile. It just helps calm the mind, and also let you see that, oh, this person is friendly. Okay, let me get to know them. And also, you want to imagine that you're talking to a friend. You're talking to a friend, but not in like informal way. You're talking to a friend, because that way it helps calm down the nerves. And before that too, before going into an interview, you breathe in and out. Even before writing my resume or CV, I breathe in and out a couple of times. I read some self-affirmation. Yes, I got this. I can do all things through God who strengthens me. I got this. I know that things will work out well. things are working well for me. Something that will help you put that confidence out there. You don't have to be in front of the employer before you put your confidence or try to drive your confidence out there. You have to have that positive mindset, and that starts through the mind, through the heart. And you just have to make sure that you put your best foot forward and trust that everything will work out. So you start by introducing yourself right from the time you start reading that job qualification. You got this. Um, keep working on yourself either ways. It doesn't matter how much experience you have or how much qualifications, but don't stop working on yourself. We never stop learning as long as we're on this earth. Yes, I'm done. Yeah.
It has been awesome as always talking to you, Dolly. Thank you so much for this great information for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me for this. Yeah, so this is very amazing, and thank you for all you do. I do watch the all your videos too. Yeah, that is very inspiring, and helping people out there is very, very lovely. Thanks for everything you do. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.